I'll show you how it's done. Shazam!
Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to our channel here at Underdeveloped, and today we are reviewing another movie, Final Destination Bloodlines.
The sixth movie in the Final Destination series, a series which we never watched before this one.
First ever Final Destination film I've seen.
Same here.
The films growing up, in terms of like, you know, so on TV spots. I knew like very bare bones minimum. I know it involves like people dying in freakish, crazy ways.
So we start off Final Destination Bloodlines with a bit of a flashback to the 60s where we have this loving couple just going up to this massive restaurant. And by I say massive, it's at the top of this tower. And of course, you know, what you expect happens is going to happen. Everything goes well at first. It seems like a nice, wonderful night, but you get little hints that the tower is going to fall and that's just going to happen until it eventually does, which leads us to our main character, Stephanie, who's having these recurring nightmares about her grandmother, Iris, who was on this actual building that actually did exist in the universe of the movie. And so she keeps having this recurring dream. It's really interfering with her studies. So she goes home, reconnects to her family, and tries to find more information about her. And eventually she does find good old Grandma Iris. But Iris reveals that the scene in the beginning of the movie was actually just an illusion. It was a premonition of what was to come. So she actually saves everyone on that building, only just for Death to be pissed that all these people that are supposed to die are suddenly alive. So he slowly kills all of them in order, from who was supposed to die first all the way over to Iris, Iris and Tony Todd's character, who were supposed to die last. And in that order, they are last. But as she talks to Iris, she realizes that Iris is one of the only ones left, and that after she dies, the family's going to be in danger because death is going to be going after them since they weren't supposed to exist. And then after Iris dies, that's essentially the plot of the movie. The rest of the family has to band together to try and cheat death so that they can survive.
Yep, it's about cheating death to escape their cosmic fate.
Yep. That's the plot of Final Destination Bloodlines, really, now without getting into too much detail.
Yeah, it'll come out this episode of Supernatural where one of the Fate sisters essentially creates like these cosmic quinky-dinks that essentially lead people to die. Because the whole premise of that episode is essentially that one of the angels, a regular or like a recurring at the time, he went back in time to the Titanic to basically save everyone, to prevent it from crashing into the iceberg. The plot kind of rings similar because essentially it's now to basically like a bunch of people wasn't supposed to exist because a lot of people wants to die on the Titanic, so it leads to all these people being born, and her thing is like setting up these cosmic coincidence for them to die. And that's what this movie kind of felt like, you know.
Yeah.
But instead of Fate Sisters using death, itself.
Which I'm wondering if they probably took that idea for Supernatural from like the earlier movies.
That's right. Yeah. Because I never seen another one, so that's like very similar.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they just doing a rendition of.
I mean, it happens all the time in like shows where they'll do an episode that's just a reference to a movie.
But also, I never seen the other Final Destination, so I really don't know what it's about. So I don't know how true that holds up. I have to like see it for myself to make that decision.
Yeah.
But it felt like that. I mean, most likely it happened like with other people. Like it just like it's happened. But yeah. But I don't know enough to make a real. I don't know, so I don't know if they're just staying loyal to the franchise. You know what I mean? Not want to step on anyone's toes. So they kind of took a similar plot line and then used it for this, or it's like the first time they're really trying this kind of plot, and maybe the other movie's a little different motivations.
Yeah.
Because then that's the case, and that'll be kind of samey. If it's this kind of plot's been done already in other movies, it'd be kind of samey. So I hope not.
Yeah, I don't really. Again, We're not familiar with this series too much.
Which kind of fucks me up. But even as standalone, it's still operates as his own movie. It's no real lingering things. Really.
Like I didn't feel confused watching it. I didn't feel like I needed to know the rest watching it.
Yeah.
Like the only thing I feel like Tony Todd's appearance would have been even more impactful if I saw the others, since I know he's in all of them now.
Exactly. And that's like the only thing.
But yeah, that's about it. Aside from that, this movie does stand apart on its own 2 feet. So So if this is your first chance watching the franchise, then this might be a good entry point. At least I think it is. As someone who's not experienced,
which I'm pretty sure they're planning on it.
Probably. I guess it'll depend on how much this does in the box office.
Yeah. It looks like it may seem some,
Yeah, I don't think it'll be a flop. I think it'll do fine. At least fine enough.
Yeah. So, thoughts of this movie. I thought this movie was effective. I didn't realize. I thought Final Destination was like a serious horror. This kind of feels more like in the comedy sector. Because to me, this. I mean, I'm not saying Bladey is more of like a dark comedy, which is said also to like when I looked it up to be pretty much what it lines up to. Essentially like a really dark. It's like a dark comedy, with like these absurd and the deaths. So like I guess it's like a thing at this point, like how they do it, like. It's very over the top to the point where it doesn't question like the existence of it's like just in someone's head. Yeah, you know what I mean, or it's really happening. Like this very surrealist kind of thing because of course the effects looks cheap, on top, so that adds into the level of like all right, some stage bullshit. Yeah, you know what I mean.
The effects are very hit and miss this movie,
and it's very gotcha. It's right in your face. Those that like they want a shock value.
Oh, of course.
So you could tell they thrive off this shock value. You know what I mean? And it doesn't interest me at all. Just seeing comes off boring. That's how I see it. But outside of that, like to me, honestly, what's really interesting is the build-up moments because like they play with the sound design, they play with the shots, and they play with the edit. You know what I mean? They play the edit, they put the shots, they put the sound design, and they kind of use that to kind of convey like everything is dangerous. I'm like it could be one the character's going through a revolving door, and they highlighted they emphasized like the sharp sound of the turn of the door and just laying out and like with the sound design and editing and the shots, just how hopeless it is. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Or just like the creaks and like the bolts shaking as you're going up the elevator.
Yeah. So basically they kind of highlight so them shooting that way, filming that way, kind of just makes you feel like, okay, everything's fucking dangerous. Everything could take your head off. That's the vibe, I guess. And to me, that build up, not knowing when it was going to happen, if the plug was going to be pulled, that's easily a lot more terrifying than the actual death happening. Yeah. So this is like a disconnect between like what's actually seen to be, not necessarily scary, but intimidating, next to what's completely not intimidating. Kind of just like I look at it as like, this is kind of ridiculous. Like. To me, it's like a far cry, I guess, because the build up to me is a lot more intense, a lot more nerve wracking, a lot more. I want to say scary, but for me, that was a lot more. The build to me was a little more intimidating than actual death.
Well, that's pretty common in a lot of horror movies. Like usually the build up, it's the build up of something happening that really gets you, and then like when it finally happens, you get like that release. Like okay,
but that's the whole point. I'm saying to me, it's a disconnect. That's happening here because when the death happened, it happens it's so ridiculous that it's like it's hard for me to take it seriously. But the build up actually fills you with suspense, like oh shit, when it's gonna happen? You know what I mean? You said that right. So to me, the delivery just like they do a good job of like, well, I guess I don't know, maybe it's part of the culture. That's what they want to do. They kind of want to make it over the top, I guess. But to me, the build up was I took the build up a lot more serious than the actual like death happening.
The thing is, my problem with the deaths is I feel like they spoiled us with their best death, like right in the beginning, like because like with the tower going ape shit and everything. I feel like nothing was ever going to live up to that high of everything going to shit in that place. It never did.
Yeah, because the place and the height of it is already so scary.
And even then, like just the sheer collateral damage, like nothing really compared to that.
Yeah, that's like a climax on the way to happen. It's like this whole, and it also shot beautifully. The colors, the CG of it all looked amazing.
Like that was the best sequence of the movie,
and also opinion. Just like the look too, like even from just the mise en scène alone, from the wardrobe to the colors to the effects, it all looked pretty solid.
Yeah. Then I felt like I felt like just the characterization, like it's like the characters.
I like that couple actually. I like seeing them. They could have been. They were more interested in the actual family, in my opinion.
That was what I was gonna say. Yeah, because like the actual family feel like the thing is the couple works because they don't have that much going on, but they're only on screen for like 20 minutes, so it's fine.
Yeah.
But the family equally has as little going on, but they're on screen for like an hour and a half, and that's a problem.
Yeah, they made you care about these people like in like one scene. You know what I mean? And you average, you don't really barely know them, but like 10 minutes into the movie, you're already in love with this couple. Cause just you feel the love, feel like the, you know what I mean, to feel like the goodness of them, like they really care for each other. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? You get that she's strong-willed and other guys is, you know, in love, you know what I'm saying, and you just buy into that relationship, you know what I mean, off rip. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? To me, it's like that was already wanted to be a good story in itself. So to me, like you could have kept it contained to this whole like building collapsing, and them trying to get out, you know what I mean, like and them trying to get out, survive the collateral, you know what I mean. Mm-hmm. Like, that alone could have been something crazy, you know what I'm saying. Yeah. So like the key to capping it off to that, actually, that was to me the potential story. I mean, I didn't dislike what they did because it still was like a very ambitious plot and very interesting. Yeah, especially as it unraveled. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's just in a general sense. I wonder if she was in the other ones too.
I guess I could Google that right now.
Gabriel Rose. Wrong person. Other person. Wrong person.
Oh, wrong person? Oh. Then who are you
talking
about?
The one next to her.
This person? Okay. Yes. Let's see what she was in. She was in Home Alone 3, apparently.
Okay. I guess she wasn't. Okay.
Yeah, I don't see anything.
He was born. Okay, she was in He Was Born. All right.
Yeah.
I watched that. Okay.
She was in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., apparently.
Oh, cool. All right, cool. Never mind.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, even the characters. I mean, the main character was solid. You know, what I mean, like, yeah, she's like you know, the main character kind of puts things together. Mm-hmm. She the plot. She just essentially the plot device. She has this connection, you know, with the premonitions, and she uses that to help trying to save her family from sudden death, and she uncovers everything, and the plot kind of runs through her. You know, she has a job, nothing special. You know, it's kind of typical in these kind of movies. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but even so, still was a decent watch, and the plot was a pretty strong one because we come from a lot of these kind of gimmicky horrors that, you know, have like a really shoddy plot.
This one tries to have a real plot and real characters, which is more than most gimmicky horror movies.
Yeah, nothing really super amazing, but it could have been more amazing if they did more with it. But what they did, it was solid enough. It's better than most of those gimmicky horror films. It's one of the top.
Definitely
gimmick horrors for sure. Not Smile 2 level, but definitely like but definitely a solid showing. It's not trash.
Definitely not trash. Yeah.
But I already laid out my biggest concerns with the disconnect between the deaths and the anticipation. Anticipation was one of the most well executed things, and we both agreed that the intro, you know, with everything that happens in it, from story to the mise en scène, it just was actually very well done. Mm-hmm. So bad the rest of them didn't live up to that. Yeah.
They really blew their load early with that.
And great shock value, like the very end, them dying, but also not too much shock value because I'm not surprised because they've done things like that before. Yeah. But still seeing them get flatlined at the very end is crazy. Mm-hmm. So that was a good touch. Mm-hmm.
Anyways, I think we're ready to get to scores now.
Yeah, I think my score is about a 63.
63? Yeah. I'm thinking more like 72. I think this is a perfectly fine movie.
Sure.
Nothing fantastic.
I mean, for this kind of movie, like gimmick horror is like a good score because these usually get like less than 40.
True. So. True. They usually get pretty fucking low. This one's getting pretty fucking high reviews. Too high, if you ask me.
Yeah, actually, I'll get a flat 65. I think that's fair. A flat 65. That's my score. Put that back.
Sure.
Yeah, 65 is what I'm rocking with.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's fair.
And that's it.
Wait, but like this is like damn near 90s. The hell, I don't fucking know.
The thing is, that's the problem with Rotten Tomatoes, because 92 and 89, these numbers don't mean that people are constantly giving this movie in the 90s or in the 80s.
It is that most people that reviewed it gave it not terrible review.
Yeah, it's like because like it's just like we have two options, good or bad, and 92% of critics voted good, and 89% of audiences voted good. That's it. It's super misleading, and I hate it.
If you look at the reviews, it's probably a lot of reviews that definitely has issues.
Yeah, probably.
Even if it gives it a positive rating.
Yeah, like even if they all put it in the 70s, like I did, that would still count as fresh. I think even 65 counts as fresh, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe I'm wrong with that, but yeah, let's see. Okay, some of these are kind of high, but 3.5, that's more understandable. Yeah, there's a lot of these fucking reviews. Whatever. It is what it is. Also, apparently, Tony Todd's last lines in this were all ad-libbed by him, so that's cool.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, he's a legend.
Yeah.
He's good. Also played the Candyman, other roles. He's fucking awesome. Wish I would get the chance to work with him.
Yeah,
if
man.
I ever made
that
it.
would have been cool.
That would have been really sick, yeah.
Yeah.
I actually met Carl Weathers on set, too, before he died. He was one of the directors on the episode of Last OG.
Yeah.
He died like a year later, I think so.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, but honestly, yeah, this was, for this kind of realm of movie, not bad. If you're into this kind of style, the gimmicky horror, give this a try for sure. You'll definitely enjoy yourself.
You're looking for like a fun little horror movie? Go give it a shot. Go give it a watch.
It'll give you that and then some for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That being said, folks, please hit the like, subscribe button, and remember to always support good movies in the movie theater when they're out.
Absolutely. See you guys later.